Dave?
Are you ready?
Yeah, go on, Warren.
I was a member of UKIP. I won this seat in Palesworth as a councillor for UKIP. I won the seat. The first ever councillor, a record for Oldham Council to have a UKIP representative. The branch of UKIP printed a leaflet of the way the Labour Party were fiddling with voting fraud, including postal voting fraud. We printed a leaflet that I went with an ex-top man in the Labour Party to see a police officer in Oldham Police Station. He asked me to come in and witness as a witness because he was bubbling how they do it in Oldham, the Labour Party, ex-member of the Labour Party and an ex-Labour councillor. I sat with him for half an hour with DC Paul Cockburn, right? He was in charge of electoral misdemeanors. He was the police boss. We spent half an hour with him in Oldham Police Station and we came away. We expected some progress, investigation or something. We then, because nothing was done and the elections were coming, we then, UKIP branch, printed a leaflet with all on it what we told the policeman.
I remember the leaflet, yeah.
We printed how they were doing it in Oldham. I was sat in my home, right, the leaflets were being printed, some were already printed. I was sat in my home in Palesworth as a member of UKIP, and the leaflet came on my television screen, the leaflet that we'd printed. I got a phone call while it was on my screen from a top official, Noel Matthews, UKIP officer, to say, have you printed that leaflet, Warren? So I said, well, first of all, who is it? Because I'm very careful of phone calls. I says, why, what's the problem? He says, well, it's racist. I says, who said it's racist? He says, well, Yvette Cooper was on Sky News and the leaflet was there from Sky News on the screen, public. She said it's racist. I says, well, first of all, I don't know who you are, but the branch printed that leaflet. I says, and the person that printed it, I said, the chairman, I says, I will contact him and to have a word with you. I then rang the person that went to the police station, ex-Labour, 8 years a councillor, Labour. Look, Noel Matthews, UKIP officer, said we've got to stop that leaflet. Are we stopping it? No. The branch had printed that leaflet. Permission of the UKIP branch, and they're all facts. Tell him to ring me, right? The leaflet was stopped. I never got one, and I was a UKIP. I won the seat for UKIP. I did my own leaflet. I didn't get the original leaflet that the Democratic branch passed to be printed, right? And then we were at the Royton by-election.
Yeah,
when James Ignatius O'Rourke McMahon, who won the seat from Michael Nietzsche, who I chose when he was in the Labour Party to be an MP.
Yeah.
I was stood with Paul Nuttall, deputy to Nigel Farage.
Yeah, I know Paul Nuttall, yeah.
I was stood with Paul Nuttall at the Royton by-election. I went round all the postal votes. They're always first. They always come out first. I've experienced it. They're always first if possible. I went to Paul Nuttall. I stood next to him. He says, how do you think it's going on? I said, you've got murdered, Paul. You've got murdered. What do you mean? The postal vote has murdered you. You can't catch. We'll wait, he says to me. We will wait till the polling stations come in. We will wait. That's a fact. That's the truth. Stood with Paul Nuttall, deputy leader of UKIP, right? Halfway through, before the count was over, he turns round to me, says, Warren, have you got your car? So I said, yes, Paul. Do me a favour, will you run me to a certain place? I said, yes, get in. Goes up, get in. He's on the phone to Nigel Farage. Nigel, we've got murdered. Explaining the reason, he said, well, postal vote fraud. Postal vote has murdered us. Postal vote, and I believe it's fraud.
Yeah, of course.
Like, Nigel Farage, next day, goes on TV in public all the stations and said postal vote fraud and fraud in Oldham. We printed the leaflet with it all on how they were doing it, and they stopped it and said it was racist.
Wankers.
Pardon?
Wankers
Well, I
are
wouldn't
all
use
awful.
that term because I try to be,
Scum! Scum, they're all scum.
I try to be diplomatic.
Yeah.
You get what you see with me. I never got anywhere in the Labour Party. 55 years, a trade union official, Transport and General Workers Union, fought against the privatisation of public transport that we're in today, and they're all screaming it's going to come back. Andy Burnham's at the front there. We're giving money now to private Metrolink, that's all public money, millions, to keep it running with nobody on it, and it doesn't belong to us. It belongs to a private company, the Metrolink, that's going past now.
And the most violent transport service in Greater Manchester, may I say so?
Those are facts, my friend, that I've just told you. And I have got, as it happens, I happen to have a leaflet that UKIP printed, but I didn't use it because I was told not to use it, and I didn't. I used my own leaflet, and I won that seat there in Failsworth West against the ex-Labour leader of the council, Councillor John Batty, and leader of Labour as well. He had 2 jobs. You know, I once said to him, is there any more jobs going for you? I once said to John, is there any more jobs going? Because I don't believe you can do both. Well, that's another matter. And those are facts. And I have a leaflet there in my possession, and it's all in print. What was called racist by UK.
I remember the leaflet, and there's been an issue with voting fraud for 20 years in Oldham. I reckon there's an article from 20 years ago.
How did you? I was a member of the Labour Party for 55 years and chairman of this ward here, with my family dedicated. And when the ex-Labour councillor went to the police officer, I couldn't believe. I didn't know that was going on. I didn't how bent it was. The system. But let me make it clear before I go. I informed Eric Pickles, Conservative, outside the Conservative Party conference about all this, right? The Lib Dems know all about it. Howard Sykes, he knows it's rife. These people know, but they're not prepared to do anything about it. They're putting a sticking plaster over it all the time. And there should be an inquiry.
Yeah, there should be.
There should be it's fraud. It's a criminal offence.
I'm gonna do a show on the voting fraud, and I'm gonna use some of that. Yeah.
Oh, good. Use it. If you want me, you know what? You've got my phone.